So when you read Daniel chapter 1, it talks about how Daniel had explained to the king that he was only going to be eating vegetables and healthy things. He wasn't going to be eating any of the pleasant foods, none of the good stuff, none of the good stuff that we'd just be like, man, this was some good soul food or whatever. He wasn't eating none of that. He wanted to just eat the healthy things. And he did that for a period of time. However, it did not say that he went on a fast. What Daniel did was he did a level of consecration, but it wasn't a fast. It wasn't a fast that he went on. So many people have taken that, and even myself, just from what I have learned from church or just social media, whatever, we've taken that and we have been like, wow, okay, he went on a fast. He went on a fast. But a real biblical fast is one where you are removing food. You must remove the food in order for it to be a biblical fast. Now, that's not to say that Daniel wasn't a man of God who was fasting. That's not to say that God didn't even honor his consecration, but it wasn't a fast. He just went vegan. He was vegetarian, or whichever one it is. Like, he just ate vegetables. He ate healthy things. God wanted to cleanse his body, and so he allowed God to show him what to eat for that period of time, which was in chapter 1. Actually, it was 10 days. All that, and it cleansed his body and the other men that did it with him. When you look at the Bible, you will see that people that went on fast in the Bible, it verbally says that they went on a fast and for how many days. And the common thing that it says, my baby is says that they went on a fast and for how many days. And it'll say that they removed the food. And in some cases, like with Esther, it'll say food and water for those 3 days that her and the Jews went on that fast. So the Bible is very clear when it lets you know that someone is actually going on a fast, okay? If you are fasting from Target, like there was, a preacher and recently that called his congregation to do a fast on Target due to a lot of things that are happening in the government, and because they are mistreating Black people. Listen, I'm all about treating everybody fair and all that, but I'm not fasting from Target. I'm not fasting from Target. I'm not fasting from social media. I'm not fasting from eating a particular type of food. When I fast, I don't eat nothing. Why? Because that's what God's order and design was for us. And also, the standard should always go back to Christ. So if Jesus fasted for those 40 days, now I have never fasted for 40 days straight. I'm not even telling you to fast for 40 days straight. Go to God concerning the amount of time that you need to fast. But if he fasted and showed the example of the fact that he did not eat any food, then that should be the standard, point blank and period. That should be the standard of you are not to consume anything. What you are supposed to do when you are on a fast, you are to replace the food that you would be eating with the word of God, because God is what? The bread of life. That's why when Jesus was tempted, he said, man shall not live by what? Bread alone. You shouldn't live by bread alone, but also it says that, God is the bread of life. So we are to feed ourselves with the word of God. If you are somebody that, during those particular, so whatever your hours are, if you are already somebody that doesn't eat breakfast in the morning, and now all of a sudden, or lunch or whatever time period it is, and now all of a sudden you don't want to, or you decide to make that your fast, that's not a fast. It has to be a sacrifice being pulled out of you. It has to be a sacrifice. I've done the Esther fast before. I've gone on, and this isn't to brag or boast or none of that. I've gone on fast where I've done 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I've done those sorts of fasts. Why? Because me fasting until noon is not a fast. I've gone without eating until noon before, and I've been just fine. because I'm working on my health and wellness, I'm not doing that no more. But I have done it before. I've done it before. So that's not a sacrifice for me. What really makes it a sacrifice for me is when I start fasting in the morning and I don't eat until the evening time. That's how God uses me. But God can use each and every one of you individually. But I wanted to make sure that I came up here and explain that part. Now, another piece that I do believe that is very important to know when you are fasting is that you should not be telling anybody. I used to have this problem too. Just a talk. God has put me in what I like to call the shut up ministry. I am a part of the shut up ministry now. And this is where Shayna has learned and is still learning how to shut up and not say things as God is still progressively working on those things. It's nobody's business when you are going on a fast. The only time it is okay for you to tell is if when 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, there he is. It is okay for you to tell someone else if y'all are doing it together. If this is a strategic thing, they say, hey, we're going to fast together over whatever this may be, because some things can't be broken, can't be changed or whatever without prayer and fasting, without both. Okay, he loves individual time, but he also loves when there is a sense of fellowship and you are combining your mindset and, you know, your spirit that you have on the inside of you and connecting with another believer to be able to do a fast. So that's why he honored the fast that Esther and the Jews did. They collectively did that together and they all knew that they was doing it. They didn't go out and tell the others. They all did that amongst themselves. They didn't eat or drink for 1, 2, 3 days. They didn't do that. But anybody else that went on a fast, where did it say that they shared that information with anybody else? They didn't. We as believers, we got to stop all this stuff sometimes. Sometimes it's just good to keep stuff to yourself and allow God to do things behind the scenes and keep you behind the scenes before it comes into fruition, before it's manifested here on this earth. I pray that it gave you a little bit more insight, more wisdom, more knowledge, and even something to go back and study for yourself, because the word of God says, study to show thyself approved unto God, not to me and not to anybody else, but unto God. And when you know better, you do better. When you know better, you do better. But if you didn't know before that there wasn't a Daniel's fast, which I didn't know back then either, I've also done Daniel's fast, quote unquote. But if you didn't know, God's not going to penalize you for that because you didn't know. You didn't know, but understand my people perish for lack of knowledge. So I pray to God that you have gained some level of knowledge, wisdom, or understanding with what I have said and with the scriptures that I have shown to you. And I also want you to know that, you know, it is okay to add Daniel's diet surrounding your fasting hours. So for example, if you do a fast from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. outside of those fasting hours, sure, consecrate yourself from eating meats and anything that is not, you know, the best food for your body and your health and wellness and stuff like that. Because, you know, like I said in my last video, God does want us to be healthy. So God bless you and I love you. My baby's crying. So